Welcome to the review video. I might have a little background noise with the traffic going by my place just because it's so hot in here. Go through these questions quick. I'm not going to circle the answers, so don't get your hopes up, but I will talk you through the questions. First photograph shows a recently discovered all-black penguin, a little chick, a baby, and several typical black and white chicks. The appearance of this penguin chick with all black feathers might A, increase the types of food. No, yeah, right. No. Decrease the diversity. That sounds good. Decrease the number of variations. Increases the variation. What are you talking about? And D, result in an increase in black penguins over time if the trait provides a reproductive advantage. Wow, that is the best answer. If it is an adaptation and it helps them survive, if the females like the all black better, that's a reproductive advantage, and they'll be able to pass on their traits better than the black and white. 2. In certain species of insects and litters of flat and white discs. Interlock resembling an old orchid flower, so these beetles resemble a flower. This adaptation provides the insect with a better opportunity to capture its prey. Oh, so it mimics a flower, mimicry. If environmental conditions remain unchanged, so the environment's not changing, evolution is probably not going to happen, it's going to remain constant for a while, it is most likely that in future generations, the proportion of the population with this adaptation will increase only because the environment's not changing. If it said the environment stayed the same and then changed down the road, then it would be increase and possibly decrease. But the environment's not changing, that means it has to be A. 3. Which phrase best indicates the meaning of the arrow labeled X? Natural selection, nature chooses, and then B, variations. All right, let's make a sentence out of this. Put A in where X is. Natural selection is dependent on having variations. That kind of sounds true, right? Let's see the other ones. Natural selection increases the rate of variations? No, natural selection chooses certain variations. C, natural selection decreases the rate of variations? No, natural selection loves to have variations and it chooses certain ones. And natural selection D is independent, meaning it just has nothing to do with variation? Definitely no. A is the answer. It's dependent on certain variations. 4. Geographic and reproductive isolation are most closely associated with the development of new species. What letter represents the development of new species? 5. The presence of these adaptations is most likely the result of organism. Desert rat. The environment is hot and dry. The adaptation comes out of the burrow only at night. That was a good adaptation. It keeps them cool. An organism is an Arctic poppy plant. It's a cold and windy environment. Grows low to the ground next to rocks that help absorb heat. Okay, so the presence of these adaptations is most likely the result of. Did nature choose those? Yeah. These organisms had this adaptation, and that was great for this environment, and nature selected them. Which one of those letters represents nature chose? 6. If the same antibiotic is used too many times, it could become less effective against a certain type of bacteria. This observation is best explained by the presence of pathogens in antibiotics. Antibiotics kill pathogens. There's no pathogens in antibiotics. That's absurd. Some of these answers are absolutely crazy. B, the production of antibiotics by white blood cells. How awesome would that be if our white blood cells made our own antibiotics? We wouldn't have to take antibiotics. We'd make them in our body. We don't. C, the replication of viruses that attack bacteria. That doesn't have anything to do with using too many antibiotics, which causes them to become less effective against bacteria. No, doesn't make any sense. D, the survival and reproduction of unaffected bacteria. Yeah, you use the same antibiotic too many times. A certain variation of bacteria doesn't die. They're resistant. They start to grow and they make more babies that are resistant. They survive and reproduce. Yep, that sounds good. D. 7. Antibiotics are substances used to help fight an infection of streptococcus, a bacteria that causes strep throat. Overuse of the antibiotics can A. Prevent future infections by these pathogens. I wouldn't say that. It helps get rid of it. Doesn't prevent future infections. You get strep throat once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. I know people who've had it 6, 7 times. B. Cause a decrease in the production of enzymes. How does it have anything to do with the question? C. Allow organic molecules to be synthesized. Streptococcus bacteria is using antibiotics on streptococcus bacteria allows photosynthesis to happen in your mouth, in your throat. No, it's crazy. D. Select for resistant organisms. Yeah, if you use antibiotics too much, certain resistant bacteria will be selected to live and reproduce and make a resistant population. That's a great answer. 8. If only one type of tree is planted in an abandoned field, the ecosystem, that is a not stable ecosystem. Not stable. Big for our next topic, which is the longest topic of them all, of ecology. You need to have variation. So A, evolve quickly and become extinct. That doesn't make sense. Evolve quickly usually means you adapt to the environment and you could, grow and sustain yourself. B, be unable to reach dynamic equilibrium. C, contain little genetic variability. Yeah. B, be unable to cycle materials. Nothing to do with the question at all. C is the best answer there. You have little variability in your DNA because you're all the same. 9. Population animals is permanently split by a natural barrier into two populations, just like we saw above with the buffalo. What will likely happen after a long period of time? A. The evolution of two populations will be identical. They have two different environments. That's key right there. So they won't be identical. B. The production of variations will stop. No, they're still going to reproduce sexually, which creates variations. C. The two populations will evolve into separate species. That could happen. D. Autotrophic nutrition will replace heterotrophic nutrition. Where did you get that from? C is the best answer. Wow. 10. According to the theory of biological evolution, most present-day species of organisms A. Developed from similar, smaller, prehistoric organisms. Doesn't necessarily have to be smaller. I mean, chickens developed from dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are much bigger. B. Have always existed in the form they have today. You're right. C. Developed from fossils. So those dead bones in the ground cause organisms to living organisms evolve from them. Dead bones? No. D. Descended from earlier different species. Oh my god, yeah. 11. Love this question. Which statement would best explain the presence of bacteria on day 4? Looks like, yeah, variation day 1. Antibiotic is treated. The white ones are dying. The black ones seem to be okay. And they're increasing in number. Looks like you have a resistant population of bacteria on day 4. Uh-oh. 12. Which statement provides evidence that evolution is occurring right now? The extinction rate of species has decreased. No, has increased over the last 50 years. Many birds species and some butterflies species make annual migrations. It's nothing to do with evolution. New varieties of plant species are appearing more frequently in regions undergoing climatic change. Yeah, climate change is causing more different environments, causing more variations to be selected, and causing organisms to change. 13. Which row is correct? Is row A, is row B, row C, or row D correct? Which is going to have the fastest rate of evolution? We talked a lot about that. That one's all you guys. There are two big things you need for evolution. Think of why bacteria evolved so much faster than us. 14, which activity would be most likely to increase the mutation rate in a culture or petri dish of bacteria being grown in a laboratory? What increases mutation? What causes variation? Oh God, I'm gonna leave that one to you. That's right from the notes, directly from the notes, and we've gone over that multiple times in many past units. Think about why you have to wear a lead mat when you guys go to a doctor sometimes. 15, which process is least likely, whenever you see these words, underline them, least likely to add to the variety of traits in a population? Meaning, which is least likely to cause a variation in the population? Well, deleting as a mutation, genetic engineering, you insert different genes, you make genetically modified organisms. Accurate, that means you're going to have no variations, everything's going to be exactly the same. What's the least likely to add variation? Oh, that sounds pretty good. D, exchange of crossing over. No, C sounds awesome. 16, so it looks like a small community is heavily infested with mosquitoes. They're sprayed weekly. They sprayed DDT weekly for several months. Daily counts of the mosquito population shown below. They did this in the early 2000s. They went around with trucks in the street and just spray the heck out of the streets. And they used to do this because we used to have a big problem with West Nile virus. And yeah, yep, no more. Not going to say anything. What is the most probable reason? So they used a lot. Oh my God, look at the mosquitoes. So many of them, and then they almost all died. Almost all died. These guys were resistant to DDT. So they started multiplying and making a whole resistant population. Wow. The DDT doesn't work anymore. What's the reason for decreased effectiveness of DDT? Well, these resistant mosquitoes had a variation or a certain gene or piece of DNA that allowed them to live and not get affected by DDT. So those resistant mosquitoes lived and produced offspring. 17, which organisms most likely to have new gene combinations? Pretty much what is the best way to cause variation? That's what they test your knowledge of. Oh my God. Skin cell, sexual reproduction, a bacteria, asexual reproduction, starfish that grew from part of a starfish, regeneration, which is a type of asexual reproduction. Skin cell reproduced by asexual reproduction. What's the one that stands out that creates variation? Come on. Yeah, almost done. 18. The pattern of these evolutionary pathways is most likely the result of alterations within which structure? Meaning, why do organisms become different? Because they have changes where? What part of the cell causes organisms to become different? Which part of the cell holds the DNA? 19. In the early stages of development, the embryos of dogs, pigs, humans resemble one another really, really good. This observation suggests that these animals may have a similar number of chromosomes. Not necessarily. Similar habitat requirements? No. The same blood components? No. They shared a common ancestor? Mm-hmm. Yep. According to the data above, the unknown bacterial species is most closely related to, circle the differences, whatever one has the least amount of differences when you compare it to the unknown species, that is the most closely related. 21, you will have a question like that on your test. 21, which statement concerning the evolution of ABCDE is supported? Species B and C can be found in today's environment. So this is present day. Present day, these guys are alive today. B and C can be found in today's environment. That sounds pretty good. Species A and D evolved from E. No, E's over here. This is the common ancestor to A and D and E. Species A and C could still two different species could interbreed. Are you kidding me? D, species A, B, and E all evolved from a common ancestor and are all successful today. A, B, and E, they are all extinct because they're not alive today. 22, which species is most closely related to L? Oh, God. Here we go. L. Species E is right here. F, I'm just going to circle them so I know which ones. F, G, and I. G and I. Well, and was closely related to L. L is right here. L has the most. Species F is a common ancestor to L, meaning species L came from species F directly. Species F also is a common ancestor from L and species N. Species F is the common ancestor between L, O, P, and M. That's the common ancestor of all of them. #23. The diagram below illustrates three homologous structures that have a similar function or similar structures. The structural similarities represent the diagrams are considered supporting evidence for. Come on, you guys got that. Listen, guys, have a great day. Good luck in your test. And I miss you all. The last unit is coming up. It's ecology. It's a long one, very interesting. Miss you all, guys. I'll see you all soon. Don't forget, any questions, shoot me an email.